Greetings, everyone, from Esino, Lario, Wikimania 2016, the global gathering of Wikipedians. I'm Mark Fonseca Rendeiro, also known as user Bicycle Mark. And what is Esino Lario? It's a small town. I mean real small. 700 plus people, high above Lake Como. But I guess I've told you that before. I recorded a clip last night, and now I'm on a mountain path just above the town, and there's so much water flowing around me under the path. You're gonna hear it now. Such a beautiful, beautiful place. Wow. All right, let me walk past that water. And it's been such a great gathering. I think besides all the wonderful people from around the world and getting to meet them and hear about their projects and also just sit back and relax and joke and observe with them has also been so much fun. But besides that, the other pleasure is, of course, interacting with the people of this village who've been looking forward to this, for whom this is a big moment. I mean, if you think about it, all over the world, people are moving to cities. They've been moving to cities. It's the grand urbanization. No matter where you live in this world, many of you maybe know this, the small villages are emptying in favor of people going to the city, usually because of economic opportunity, although often it's assumed economic opportunity. You may not actually find the better life, but you go in search of it, and you leave behind the villages like this one. And populations decline, and there aren't kids, and schools close, and well, you see where this is going. Esino is not that necessarily, but has seen its share of that over the years, especially high up here in the mountains. It's not that hard to feel a little bit isolated, but I have to say in a good way, or so says me, coming from the city. And so the people of the village are all involved. And maybe you've heard about how that can happen, but conferences are so often in a city, right? Cities are building convention centers, they're building hotels, they've got the hotels. But here, it's a village. And I had an interview yesterday with for Source Code Berlin with the person in charge of finding housing for everyone. And she pretty much said most houses in this village are hosting someone for this gathering. Maybe one or two aren't, and they have their reasons. Usually it's related to health or being able to host people. Matter of fact, they get real excited and they ask, for example, there are quite a few Spanish speakers who lived abroad, who worked in South America, and they say, oh, do you have any Uruguayans? Do you have any Chileans? And in some cases, we do. So that's who they host. But of course, in other cases, it's just people coming from other parts of the world, and people here are happy to give them a place for these days. And really the whole village, I'll tell you one story. I wanted earplugs. I find it hard to sleep in a building. I'm in a sort of lodge, and there's a lot of people. So I wanted earplugs to see if that would be a little easier. And I go to the pharmacy, small town pharmacy, and the pharmacist is very excited. Well, it seems to me anyway. And seems like he's studied some English, either long ago or previously, because a lot of villagers have been studying English in anticipation of this event. That was one of the programs initiated. And this was already the second or third day of the conference, and he says, oh, earplugs. I had 5 boxes. That was the most boxes I've ever had in this shop. They usually don't go that fast. But of course, yeah, people and the sleeping and the different arrangements. And he starts calling pharmacies in other towns, which must be quite far. And he comes up empty, and someone walks in and he tells them like, I'm out of earplugs. This young man needs earplugs. We should have ordered more. And it becomes a big topic around the pharmacy about how there's not enough earplugs. So I did eventually solve the problem, but it's amazing how, the old expression, it takes a village. Well, here we've seen how Hillary Clinton had no idea how correct she was. Or perhaps, I don't know, I never read her book, but she had a book called It Takes a Village, people. I think you know this. So it's all kinds of things. We were sitting outside one of two mini supermarkets of the town. It was me, it was Jens from Wikimania, Deutschland, and Alessandro, our local hero, 20 years old. 3 English conversations in his life, he says he's had. And we are number 3. And he's telling us about the town, about his life, how he lives here a few months of the year, how his mom is very religious. She appears at some point and starts asking me about Portugal and Fatima, her favorite place, showing me pictures of the Virgin Mary. But Alessandro says, my Bible is the Sport Gazeta, the sport newspaper. And he starts discussing sports, and we try and hang in there, though we're not football people really. But he starts describing with such passion and detail who's a good team, who's not a good team, what a team is missing. All this in bits and pieces, because his English is not that strong. But we loved it. I think we sat there for 2 hours discussing life with Alessandro and the town and the people of the town and a little bit of Wikipedia and Wikipedians. So it's these kind of moments that you're just sitting around in a town talking with people or trying to talk with people using English, using Italian, using bits of Spanish and Portuguese and French and German that works. So it's these things that I think make everybody smile around here, and or when you're walking down the hill, because it's such a steep hill to get to the center of town, and a car might pass, and they just pull over and pick you up. I guess because they know you're Wikipedians, or because this is the spirit of these days. Whoever you are, we're going to pick you up, we're going to drive you down the hill. I was interviewing Shani Evenstein from Israel, and she says, I never hitchhike. I consider it, not something for me. Not safe, perhaps, right? We know that image. She's like, in this town, I hitchhike every day. And I think sometimes even when she's not trying to hitchhike, people insist or pull over. I'm almost at the top of the hill now as I walk, and there's a road and there's a little bit of housing, so I might stop soon. But it's these kinds of stories just of the village that make this such a unique experience. I now think, I guess because I'm still here, but let every conference be in a village. Let my grandparents' village in Portugal put their energy together and skills and host, I don't know, a couple hundred people, find a way. It's interesting, and it leads back to this, I think, huge question of what happens to our villages and our small towns with this whole urbanization push that doesn't seem like it will ever end. Certainly not in my lifetime, or perhaps you listening, not in your lifetime. So what do we do, right? What do villages do? And even the whole idea of hosting an event, well, that's not going to save a village. But here it seems to inspire a village, and this energy could last for quite some time. Now, how long, I'm not sure, but it's something. It's a very hopeful place. They've renewed a lot of buildings. They haven't built tons of things they won't use. They've buried fiber. They now have some of the fastest internet in the region, and it's well installed, so it's not going anywhere. This could make a big difference for this village. But that's one case, right? There are so many in the world. So it's been an interesting experience. It makes me want to come back here to Esino, Lario. So I hopefully will be able to do that. Okay, so if you want to hear the interviews, you can go over to sourcecode.berlin. I know that there will be at least one show. There may be 2 shows from Esino, from Wikimania, on the topics of both the village, the event, but also the big issues and projects that people are working on within the Wikimedia family or world. So you can listen to that. I highly recommend that you can subscribe. This is just a little reality check, a little update, and the observations that maybe I don't present in the podcast that focuses more on the community and on the projects. Right? This is more about my experiences sharing with you, which I think is the great magic of podcasting. All right, I'll end on that note. From Esino, Lario, somewhere in northern Italy, I'm Mark Fonseca Rendeiro, Bicycle Mark, and I will talk to you very soon. Thanks for listening. See ya. Music at the beginning of today's program was by Minor Sailor. Go to minorsailor.bandcamp.com and check out the new album, Putting the Things Back Together. Realities Podcast is a listener-supported podcast, so go to realitiespodcast.com and click support if you want to help keep this going. Thanks.